It's back. Football and the buy one, get one free promotion over at vitaminenergy.com. It's Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Vitamin Energy, synergistically formulated to give you all the energy you need to make it through your day, as well as vitamins and nutrients to help out with things like your focus, your mood, and even your immune response. So give it a try. Shake it and take it. Try it. You'll like it. Sip the juice. vitaminenergy.com. Warchant BOGO, the promo code. Buy one, get one free.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson admits he's a little bit nervous. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is there a mismatch that Florida State can exploit against Alabama? And we're generating discussion, sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Buy one, get one free. Promo code Corey Clark.
Warchant BOGO.
Yes!
How about that?
Yes!
We're back, baby. We're back.
Synergistically formulated to energize you for 7 hours. Also give you the vitamins and nutrients you need to improve your focus, improve your mood. Or you can just watch Florida State football, and it will improve your focus as you dial in to watch the Noles take down the Tide, and then your mood will be improved. But even vastly more so if you take a shot of Vitamin Energy. Take it in the parking lot before the game. Take maybe a shot of mood inside Doak Campbell Stadium with you when Florida State falls behind early, then starts their counter-punch rally. You can take it everywhere you got to go. It's portable. It's delicious. And there's no sugar, so there's no sugar crash. Noles behind the operation. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Come to Warchant.com, everybody. Your Warchant.com membership starts at just $1 for the first week, and we're going to throw in a complimentary year of access to The Athletic, and, while supplies last, a $25 gift code to Garnet and Gold. And, obviously, you get all the access to all the awesome content we have over at Warchant.com. You also can see what's going on over on the On3 National side of things, the main board, Rivals boards, not rivals.com, but like Rivals, Miami. You can check out what they're talking about. Florida, Clemson. We have all the biggest sites in the network on 3. Come on down. $1 a week and all the other goodies. Corey Clark's here, everybody. You already knew that, but he's here. He already made his presence felt. But Corey, good to hear from you. How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful, Aslan. Thank you so much for asking. I really do appreciate it.
Okay. I feel more and more sincerity each single time I ask you about your well-being.
Yep. Good.
So it's the mailbag. We got 18 of these, so we're probably not going to get to all of them. But we're going to get to a lot of them. We start off with Jim B2356, and we'll talk a little bit about, I guess, what we heard from the podium on Tuesday as well. But he says, I would like to borrow an idea from Bill Maher. New rules. New rule. When speaking of the team this year, you can't reference anything about last year. Last year is gone and over. This year is new coordinators, new coaches all over the field, new quarterback, new play caller. What we must focus on is what is this team going to be. Game 1 will tell us a lot, but last year's team tells us nothing about this group. Thoughts?
Well, mostly correct, and that's kind of the sentiment I've been trying to use the last, really since the coordinators got here, and in the portal and everything in spring practice. I've been trying to use it, but it's still the head coach. And the reality is, if this head coach has another subpar season, he might not be the head coach the following season, simply because of 2024. So from that perspective, 2024 does matter when you're talking about the future of the program, because you're talking about the future of the head coach. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yes, like if this team loses to Alabama 38-20 or 31-6, it does not mean same old Florida State. It's the exact same thing as last year. It is a new team. And what I mean that is last year's team, when they lost the season opener, peace. We're done. This team does not need – this team will not be that team if they lose. I think they will bounce back. I guess I have no reason to – I have no proof that they'll bounce back. They've never played a game together. But it's a brand new team, so you can't hold last season's disappointment over the head of this team because it is such a different team. Like, legitimately, it's not like back in the day you'd have a bad season, not Florida State, but other schools would have a bad season. You're like, oh, they'll be better this year because they'll be improved. The guys are stronger, bigger, blah, blah, blah. All these guys are different. They're like literally different. They're different players. The roster is completely different. So, yeah, it makes sense to not hold 2025 against 2024 or judge 2025 because of 2024. You lose the first game kind of badly. It's going to be natural for a lot of people to bring up 2024, and here we go again. Norvell's 2-12 in his last 14 games or whatever it would be, which is just absolutely disgusting.
My God.
But that's where it becomes I think that's where it becomes realistic to talk about is the topic of Mike Norvell, the conversation around Mike Norvell, not necessarily a 2025 football team, but what does a loss mean, and if they stack up, what do losses mean for the future of the program because of what 2024 was?
Onward, then, anything of significance from the podium on Tuesday? We spoke to John Papuchis, Squirrel White, and Randy Pittman. Very impressive young man. I think the biggest thing was Squirrel White saying that he's 100%, which I don't know if I believe
whether he
him.
is or I was going to say whether he is or isn't, he's definitely going to play. They wouldn't have had him speak to us if he wasn't going to play. And Norvell said he was going to play on Monday, and then we got Squirrel White on Tuesday, so that bodes well for not being a serious injury. It was something lower body, clearly not that significant, and he will be ready to go against Alabama, which is huge because I just wrote a story about because Ira asked Squirrel White and Randy Pittman about just the excitement of the season opener and playing Alabama, but the fact that Squirrel White was on two Tennessee teams that beat Alabama. Jason Jenkins was on teams that beat Alabama. Micah Pettis played against Alabama. Now, I don't think he ever beat him as a starter, but was in close games with them. And then on top of that, Squirrel White, the year they did in 23, I guess it was 23, Tennessee lost to Alabama, but Squirrel White had 10 for 111. So that shouldn't that fill Florida State fans with some confidence? Like, Squirrel White had more catches in that game against Alabama than Malik Benson and Jaylen Brown had combined in their careers coming into 2024.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come on, man. Like, this is a different level of player that they have brought in, and that should give you some hope. Maybe not hope that they're going to beat Alabama, but hope that this season is going to be markedly different than last season. So, yeah, I did not realize, I guess, that Squirrel White had a game like that. 10 for 111 against, hey, Aslan, that Alabama team was good enough to make the playoff.
National semifinalist Alabama.
Yeah, national semifinalist Alabama. Hey, took the national champs to overtime. I think that game was an overtime game.
It was.
Yeah, so Squirrel White had 10 for 111 against that group. So that's kind of exciting.
Speaking of some reasons for hope, we'll come back to the question, but a nugget from our guy, Noel Dad for Life. What's up, guys? Wake up. It's upset week. A little nugget I heard recently. Each of the past few seasons, a top 10 team has lost on the road to an unranked opponent. Florida State was guilty of it last year in 2024.
Was that on the road? I guess technically it wasn't at home.
Yeah. Clemson in 23, I think that might have been the Duke game. Utah in 2022. I guess that was Florida, right?
Yeah.
There's only one top 10 team going on the road in week 1 to face an unranked opponent. Just saying, Corey.
There you go. I like the belief. Again, this is not unwinnable, gang. This is absolutely not unwinnable. And I was thinking about this as I was writing that story that's on Warchant now as you're listening to this. I just feel like when you don't know what your quarterback is, it is a Paul is probably too strong a word. It is an enormous question mark over the entire program. Because if your quarterback is just average or subpar, there is only so good you can be in 2025 college football. There just is. And so with that in mind, Ty Simpson might just be straight but average. And, again, he also might be great, and he might torch Florida State. No idea. But there are some real question marks surrounding that dude. And that is, again, I keep saying the word equalizer a lot because I think there are a few of them in this game, although I do think Alabama's got more talent, especially in the line of scrimmage. But if Ty Simpson is rattled, if Ty Simpson just isn't any good, if he's not ready for this, in Tommy Castellanos, we know he's not going to be like shaking in his cleats. Like, we know he's going to be excited and ready to play. What if Simpson's like throwing up before the game? Like, there's a lot of pressure on that guy. Tommy Castellanos is Tommy Castellanos. He's going to make some mistakes. He's also going to wow you a few times, and you hope he can stay healthy throughout the season. But the more you think about a new quarterback making a start like this, in an environment like this, against a team like this, which is such an unknown like Florida State, and hungry, these are the recipes for upsets. Last year, that was a recipe for Florida State to lose to Georgia Tech. They had a more experienced quarterback, a better offense. I mean, obviously, Georgia Tech's offensive line is better than Florida State's, but they had a better offense and a better quarterback than Florida State did. Certainly, a hobbled DJU was not very good. So it gives you hope, man. It gives you hope. Not necessarily just that stat that was thrown out, but just the overall quarterback battle and the fact that it's a home game and there's so much of an unknown with Florida State and so many guys that have proven to be good at what they do.
Let's keep it about the quarterbacks. Big Steve-O, 22. He's lived in Alabama his whole life, married an Alabama grad, so he really needs this game, Corey. But his question is, which quarterback do you think needs this win more? Tommy, after the statements he made in the offseason, or Ty Simpson carrying the pressure from the Alabama fan base, and Kalen DeBoer possibly not being the answer? As a side note, he's always asked how he became an FSU fan living in Alabama his whole life. Literally everyone in his family born in Thomasville, Georgia. On top of that, his half-sister went to high school with the one Charlie Ward.
There we go.
There's no replacing the garden and gold that is running through my veins. Yeah, man, I think Ty Simpson needs it more. Tommy will be fine. I think Tommy will be okay. But Ty Simpson, if after all this time waiting, getting all the praise that he's been getting, I listened to his interview on Tuesday, and he seems like a nice kid. And if he wasn't playing Florida State in week 1, if he was playing Clemson, I probably would root for the kid. But he does show and exhibit the fact that he realizes how big of a game this is, and has talked about like, I got butterflies. And he's been asking, like he asks Saban what to do to not be worried before the game. He's heard from he's heard from previous Alabama quarterbacks like the great John Parker Wilson up to Jalen Milroe, Bryce Young, and ask them like how to manage emotion. So there is a possibility, to your point, that like he's feeling all of this. And he mentioned that he did not play well in his first game against USF because he made it bigger than he was and he didn't know how to prepare. But I'm going to keep the main thing and focus on myself, et cetera, et cetera. So there's there's things that he said. There's crumbs that are laid if you're hungry for reasons. I think that Florida State can pull this upset off. That I think he's definitely feeling it more, and I do think he needs it more than Tommy. If he loses, like all of the Alabama program is in complete shambles. If Florida State loses, it's kind of expected, and we're not blockbuster news right now, unfortunately.
I don't even think it's that. Look, Tommy Castellanos thinks he's blockbuster news. He plays at Florida. It's not like he's like, I'm just the Florida State quarterback. Who cares? And the Florida State fan base certainly doesn't think like, who cares if we win or lose? There's obviously inherent pressure on both players because they both are quarterbacks of big time football programs. But I would say Tommy didn't have a quarterback battle. I can't imagine either one of those backups are anywhere close to Tommy as far as like unseating him. So with that in mind, if Tommy loses and even doesn't play well, you're still riding with him, right? Like it would have to be just a debacle to think about playing Brock Glenn or Kevin Sperry, or the other transfer that I never.
Jalen King.
Yeah, but he wasn't on the depth chart, so I guess I shouldn't bring him up. But I think it would have to be a debacle if Ty Simpson just goes 10 out of 22 for 131 and a pick, and they lose. He could be benched. We don't know. Like he hasn't earned any goodwill, and he's a redshirt junior. And yes, I think you're right. Like for their futures, Ty Simpson needs this game. But more than Tommy Castellanos does. But they're both going to have a lot of pressure on themselves, internal and externally. I just think, I think Tommy Castellanos has proven enough that if he has a bad game, it's like, okay, well, it's a new offense with a bunch of new teammates against Alabama. But chalk it up to that. Be ready for East Texas A&M and light them up, Tommy. Light them up. But I do think that it's probably Simpson. I was going to say something. It just slipped my mind. It was going to be a really salient point, and and it just absolutely slipped my
happened
mind.
to
So
me
I
last
apologize
week.
to all the listeners.
Forgot to ask somebody. I was going to ask somebody a question. I forgot what the question was going to be during the press conference.
Yeah.
It's terrible when that happens. We
is.
got another quarterback related question here. Maybe just it's not directly related to the quarterback, but PGR07, wake up! I can barely sleep with all the tossing and turning.
I remembered Aslan. Real
Yes.
quick, I'm sorry. We'll
Yes.
get to PGO7. Weirdly, the fact that Ty Simpson brought up how nervous he was, and that he was asking for advice for stuff like this because he did not handle it well and he wanted to be prepared and he knows it's a big deal. As somebody that absolutely wants Florida State to win, for some reason I don't like hearing that.
Really?
It's like, okay, this kid seems to be pretty secure in who he is.
No, I think he's too aware. I think he's hyper aware. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe we'll see. But like, I like self-awareness, and it would really make me feel better, honestly, if I'm rooting for Florida State to win, for him to be like, oh, I'm not worried. It's just another game. I've been preparing this for 3 years. I feel like I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
fair.
feel like I'm ready. It's like, okay, that's false confidence.
Yeah.
That's a guy boasting and pushing his chest out when he does not believe that at all. He might genuinely be rattled. But for him to be like, absolutely, I did not handle this well. I've got butterflies already. It's like, okay, I don't like that kind of self-awareness. It is kind of endearing.
It is. That's why.
And I don't like that at all. I don't want to like the Alabama quarterback. Come on, Ty, talk some noise. Talk some noise.
So the question from PGR07, and I guess you changed my mind, Corey. Good job. I think you're right. Because I was listening to his interview, and I'm like, he feels nervous to me. I like that. But then he's also being like very self-aware about it, and then he starts rattling off like their entire setup for the game. Like, Ryan Grubb's going to be in the box. Nick Sheridan's going to be on the field. The quarterback coach is going to be on the, like, he just talked about all the guys are going to be in the box on the field. That's how all the operation is going to work. Meanwhile, we don't even know who's going to wear the green dot. Like, we cannot reveal who's going to wear the green dot in Tallahassee.
I was going to say, they know, they're just not telling us. They know who's going to wear the green dot. And also, so for what Aslan's talking about, everyone, is I asked Papuchis basically, like, what is the green dot signified? Does it always have to be a linebacker? And who's going to wear it this year, if you guys know who's going to wear it this year. He answered everything except who's going to wear it. He just moved on. And I didn't want to be like, hey, man, who's going to wear it? I didn't want to – he knew the question. He intentionally didn't answer it. But I don't know why that would matter. But either way, it sounds like – I wonder if it would be like Earl Little. You know what I mean? Like because he made it sound like it didn't have to even be a linebacker, because his point was nobody huddles anymore. So it's not like the defense has a captain that everybody will huddle with and he'll give the call. Basically, it feels like the call is going to come from the sidelines anyway.
Right.
So who do they need to communicate with the most to like help on that play? Like to help almost. You know what I mean?
He said something about it comes down to situational awareness.
What if it's like?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's say it's Ashlyn Kirkland.
Barkler.
Right? That's
Ashlyn Barker.
Who is Ashlyn Kirkland?
KJ Kirkland. It's
there you go.
You're
Sorry,
your
guys.
bets. You're hedging your bets at safety.
Yeah. It's Terrell Sanders or Deion Buckley. I remember those names, everyone. I don't forget Martin Mayhew or Terry Warren, the great defensive end on that 1987 team. But the team I'm covering present day, I mix them all up. But I wonder if it's like something like, okay, Barker's going to start. It's his first really significant playing time. Maybe we want to put the green dot on him so we can be in constant communication telling him what he needs to do on this play, what he needs to be looking for.
Okay.
Look for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
maybe it's something like that. Because it's true. Like, if you're a hurry-up offense – the whole defense is looking to the sideline, to the poster board, the poster boards or the dummy signals, the coaches signaling the plays to get the call. So maybe it's just like you want to talk to a kid and calm them down. I don't know. That's something. I mean, you could use it however you want, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry. Go ahead with the question or what you were going to say. I apologize.
Now we're going to go back to quarterbacks from PGR07. What's the one mismatch, if any, that FSU has to exploit if they're going to beat Alabama? How do you think the coaches will try to attack it? I don't know how they're going to try to attack the fact that it sounds like they've got the better place kicker. Which, again, listen, we saw what place kicking did in the 2022 game. Not to take anything away from Shaheem's sort of greatness. But I think that LSU kicker missed a few field goals. I'm sure he felt the pressure in lining up for an extra point. You got a guy that's been banging out 63-yard field goals in simulated game pressure during a scrimmage. It's a 58-yarder. Like, that makes you feel really good about this being a close game, one-possession tie game late, and we just need to kind of get into field goal range. I don't think, hearing and reading what I've been able to gather from the Alabama side, Corey, I don't think they feel really good about their place kicking. But otherwise, I mean, the one mismatch is going – I don't know if this is really a mismatch, Corey, but I know it's year one for Tony White and it's year two for the Kalen DeBoer offense, so they should have a better feel for things. But I know they have to be fundamentally sound and tackle well, right? But just be confusing. Like, do not let him get comfortable. Like, it's going to be really hard to rattle Tommy Castellanos, I think. I don't think it's going to be nearly as difficult to rattle Ty Simpson. So you have that advantage. That could be a quote-unquote mismatch. So, I mean, I think Tony just needs to throw it, man. Like, him and Zach Arnett need to bring everything they possibly can in terms of mixing up coverages, bringing guys from, rather disguising their blitzes really well to rattle this kid. I mean, give it 2 drives where he's confused on, they go 3 and out, or maybe it's only a 5-play drive, but on third down, he's completely flummoxed because he thought that, the pressure was going to be coming from the field side, but it comes from the boundary side. So that's the path to get this game in Florida State's favor, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Florida State has a mismatch. Athletically, talent-wise, there's not a mismatch on the field that I think you could look at, like, position by position. I will say this. Deuce Robinson is a walking mismatch. Like, he's just by himself, he's a mismatch against even really good corners. That kid is going to be tough to cover. You can't, unless you have a 6'7" corner out there.
They got a 6'4" true freshman that they've been raving about.
Is he going to play?
Yeah. Dijon
Come and
Lee.
get it. Yeah. Come and get some, Dijon. You're going to be mustard on toast. You see what I'm saying? Because Dijon mustard.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's going to be toast. But then that doesn't make any sense because people don't put mustard on toast. I couldn't really come up with a great.
What about like a pressed Reuben or something? Like there's mustard on that.
Well, there's Dijon mustard on a lot of things. I was just trying to think of something that also had a football tied to it. Like you could be toast as a cornerback. Yeah. You could be toasted. Anyway, I think Deuce Robinson is a mismatch. I also think that Jalen Lucas is a mismatch against anyone trying to cover him in certain scenarios. Mekhi Danzy, he might only play 5 or 6 snaps. I don't know, but he is obviously a speed mismatch. The point being, what gives you confidence, again, this game, absolutely, but moving forward, is Gus Malzahn will figure out those mismatches. And unlike last year, you actually have some. Like, there aren't going to be many teams that can cover Squirrel White and Jalen Lucas. Tommy Castellanos is also just an absolute mismatch for defensive linemen, clearly. So you have some weapons that I think Malzahn will be really, really good at utilizing. Against Alabama, game 1, maybe not. So I can't say that, again, they have a mismatch. I think when you get inside the 20, if Deuce Robinson is consistently making contested catches in practices, I'd give him a couple of shots in the end zone, man-to-man. Just throw it up to him. That is a really tough mismatch.
Never a tough mismatch when you want the best food, the coldest drinks, the best diversions at the sports bar of your choice, everybody. It's the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. More details, Corey, for the Friday event going down at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in association with Modelo and Home Field. The kickoff weekend begins in Tallahassee. We will be live, Corey Clark and myself, from 5:30 to probably about 6-ish on the deck out back of the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. If you can't be there live in the flesh, it will be broadcast on YouTube as well. So check for that out to be dropping about 5:30. But the event goes from 5 to 9 o'clock. I know there was some discussion about maybe is it 4 to 8. It's 5 to 9. They're going to raffle off 2 tickets to the Alabama-Florida State game. There'll be free wings, buffet style, first come, first serve. So like if you're the first 100 people in there, you'll probably be able to go in there and grab some wings. The free Modelo, there is a little bit of a caveat to the free Modelo. Free Modelo for the first 200 fans, but you need to be wearing home field apparel gear or bring a receipt showing that you purchased something from Garnet and Gold in the last 30 days. So
all right.
if you're in town and you need a new shirt, go to Garnet and Gold and buy it. Keep the receipt. Show up the corner pocket on Friday. Get a free Modelo. Hang out with Corey Clark, Tom Lang, Jeff Cameron, Gene Williams, Irish O'Fell, myself, Matt Lasser. Maybe Michael Langston will grace us with his presence. Nick Carlisle. The whole crew, the whole gang shall be there. But in the meantime, just show up to Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for their daily lunch specials. Their weekday happy hour from 4 to 7, 6 to p.m. or 4 to 7, Corey?
4 to 7, I'm guessing.
That's right. And then all day Sundays, everybody. It's the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It's presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Promo code Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Garnet _and_gold_guy_2018, Corey Clark. Hey, guys. Love the pod. Have been listening since the beginning, but my first time posting. I was the Garnet guy of the Garnet and Gold guys back in the 2017-2018 sports year. So saw some dark times, but I loved every minute of it as a lifelong Seminole. I'm glad. I've heard things about the Gold guy, Corey.
Yeah, heard bad things. Yeah, nefarious things.
After graduating in 19, I moved to Indiana to work for Cummins, and am still an employee, so thought I had to help generate some discussion.
Amen. Nice. It all comes full circle, Aslan.
He's also good friends with the founder of Home Field Apparel, so I'm excited for you all to be involved in the event at Corner Pocket. Incredible.
Man. Yeah, he's got his tentacles and everything.
Enough preamble. My question is around the trenches and how you guys would compare the situation we are in now to the state of the trenches the last time we played Bama in the opener back in Atlanta in 2017. To me, that was really the beginning of the end for that stretch up until the second half of 2022. I like the starters, but the depth and development is eerily similar. Thoughts? Well, Corey, they say the trenches are where these games are won and lost. So let's get down to brass tacks. I think it's a good question. He's a Cummins employee, so I think we have to do it, Corey. Let's get the cameras on, and let me not stand in your way of bringing the power to the segment, Corey, please.
Did it. Nailed it.
It's generating discussion. It's sparked by Cummins. Check it out over on Instagram, Cummins Lifestyle. So many cool things you can do when you got portable power in your backhand pocket. And not only portable power, but reliable, quiet, clean portable power. Watch out for the QG7000i, by the way, everybody. The DF, dual fuel generator for your fifth wheel, your Class A. Clean burns. You can use either liquid propane or gasoline in it. That's coming later this fall. But let's get to the question at hand, Corey.
Okay.
All of them on Instagram, everybody. Cummins Lifestyle. So the question being trenches. So I did stall here and look at. So I have the participation chart from 2017, Corey. Brian Burns started. DeMarcus Christmas started. And I can't go in. It's alphabetical order. They don't have it sorted by position. So that's two of the guys on defense. Landon Dickerson started the game. Alec Eberle was one of your starters on the offensive line. Derwin James was on the defense, but that's not trenches. Derek Kelly was one of your starting offensive linemen. He was in the NFL for, I think, a year or two. Dickerson obviously hanging tough. Let's see who else was in the trenches. Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad guy. That's all I got. That sounds very thin in terms of like the front defense. So DeMarcus Christmas, Brian Burns, and Josh Sweat. There has to be a fourth guy in here, but Noddy. There we go. Derek Noddy was also in that game. So that was a lot of those guys were in the NFL. That wasn't a bad group of guys in the trenches. The offensive line obviously just got manhandled though in the second half, leading to DeAndre's unfortunate injury. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the same thing. I think he talked about depth, Corey. Like he likes the starters, so you like Josh Sweat, you like Derek Noddy, you like Brian Burns, but the guys behind them maybe not nearly up to snuff. And maybe that's what we're looking at right now after Darrell Jackson, James Williams, and Jason Jenkins.
Yeah, I think look, I don't see a lot of similarities between this team and that team, the 17 team. And look, if Francois doesn't get hurt, I think that defense was an ACC championship caliber defense. I don't think they would have won the ACC that year, but that was a really good defense that once the starting quarterback went down, man, the sport, there's a lot of there's some things that are unexplainable in sports, but like sometimes it can affect the entire team, not just the offense, but the defense too. You lose a little belief, you lose a little what for when your starting quarterback goes down. And I think that negatively impacted that team because if you remember, that defense, if you remember that game, that Florida State defense was legit. Like Alabama did very little for most of the game. And that was with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. Obviously they had Amari Cooper maybe was the big time wideout they had, but they had NFL players all over that team.
Calvin Ridley, I think
Calvin Ridley, there you go.
Yeah.
But Florida State hung with them and was only trailing by 3 at the half and was still a game, I think, going into the fourth quarter. The offense just couldn't do anything. Look, I think that yes, I can. You don't have a Josh Sweat on this team. I don't know that you have. Maybe Darrell Jackson is a Derek Nottie. By the way, shout out to Nottie. He just got traded back to the Chiefs.
Nice.
He was signed by the Jets, and then he was traded back to the Chiefs. So he gets to play. He gets to stay in Kansas City again, which is crazy. But you mentioned of those defensive guys, there's like 4 NFL guys that you mentioned, or at least 3. Yeah. With Burns. Burns is legit. Burns is all pro. Josh Sweat is an all pro or a pro bowler, and then Derek Nottie and Derwin James is a pro bowler. That's a legit defense, man. This isn't that. But this offense will be better than that offense when it had James Blackman, in my opinion. This offense with Tommy Castellanos will be better than a James Blackman-led offense. And look, man, I don't know exactly what the question had, but the depth, yes, yeah. I think the problem with that stretch as it started was the offensive line development. There was none. It just kept getting progressively worse to the point where Willie Taggart took over. They had Landon Dickerson, who had a hard time staying healthy, and nothing else that they were confident in. And that continued really until 2022. Yeah, you can see some similarities there between that offensive line, although, it's a lot easier to replenish now, which is what Florida State had to do. So, like the question, love that he works for Cummins and that he knows the home field founder. All good stuff. I don't see a ton of similarities between the 2 seasons.
He likes the starters, but the depth and development are eerily similar. I don't know about the development, but I get it, man. Like, you like what James Williams can be. You obviously like what Darrell Jackson is, and I think Jason Jenkins is a little bit gives you some hope. But yeah, I think we felt much better about Josh Sweat than we felt, and Brian Burns than we felt about James Williams and Jason Jenkins. Offensive line, by the way, so Cole Minshew was also in the mix. Eberle was your center. The original Rick Leonard also.
Yeah, there you go.
He was a 5th-round draft pick. So they had good starters, but everything behind them was not nearly as good.
Yeah, I get that. My point, I guess, is that in this day and age, it matters, but it doesn't matter that much. Like, if you can get Lucas Simmons to be a guy next year and Andre Otto to be a guy next year, and nobody else on the team can play on the offensive line that's any good, well, you can go get 3 more starters. They're out there to go get. Willie Taggart didn't really have that luxury to just go bang a starting offensive lineman from this school and that school and Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. He couldn't go do that. So, yes, right now I would say you like the starters, especially on defense. And, yes, there wasn't a lot of supreme talent behind those frontline guys, which obviously goes into the way recruiting was going at Florida State around 16 and 17. And yeah, look, man, nobody's going to argue with you that Mike Norvell has done a bang-up job recruiting his own guys and stuffing his roster with really good high school players. We hope that it's ticked up a little bit with what he's done this past year and then what he's currently doing this year, that they're evaluating better, you hope, in getting guys that can come and make an impact at all, but then also some of them can make an impact early. That's the hope.
Brock Rubel got some burn in that game, by the way. My guy, Brock Rubel.
All the big names. The big names.
I don't know how deep the 2013 defense was, but Wally May, Fred Jones, those were like your defensive linemen, sort of secondary backup guys, but you don't need 8 dogs on your defensive line. You need at least 4, though. In that 2017, to your point, Corey, that 2017 defense had that.
Yeah.
but, linebacker was a little bit shaky. Cornerback was not as solid as we hoped with Tavares McFadden and Levante Taylor didn't live up to their vast sort of April mock draft projections. I'm sure you can find one out there that had both of those guys going in the first round. I don't think that's anything too unique, though. I don't think that was Jimbo Fisher falling asleep. I don't even know if it's like Mike Norvell falling asleep at the wheel. Not a lot of people have like 8 complete dogs on the defensive line or 10 guys on the offensive line. But
yeah, and I guess the reason I pause with the question is that the in the trenches on defense, they didn't suffer a lot of injuries. I think Marvin might have been a true freshman on that team, or Marvin was part of that group too. They stayed relatively healthy, I thought, defensively overall that season. It was just the quarterback play was so wildly inconsistent. The offense wasn't very good, and that derailed the entire season. But in the trenches defensively, they were pretty darn good. I don't see that with this team, meaning I don't see a Josh Sweat in Brian Burns. I don't know that they have anything remotely similar to that. But I do think they have some real unlike that team, I think they do have some young defensive linemen that they think are going to be really, really good. Like they're planning, I think they might be planning on Kevin Wynn and the Desir brothers both starting next year as either redshirt freshmen or true sophomores. Yeah. Like that's the impression you get. So that's kind of cool. So I think they do like some of these younger guys. Like when these guys matriculate on out of Florida State, the starters, I think they like some guys they have up front that they just brought in, but they're very young and probably pretty raw still.
So 3 of those offensive linemen that started were in the NFL. One of them still in the NFL.
Yeah.
If I set the over-under at 2.5, and I'll say offensive linemen, not even the starters, but 2.5 offensive linemen that are on this roster this year that are going to get into, play at least 80 snaps at a minimum, I guess, Corey, would you take the over, the under that they get drafted?
And under. And I guess that's the point he's trying to make, which is a good one. Like as bad as that offense ended up being by those Florida State standards, the offensive line wasn't necessarily the issue. It wasn't great. Clearly, it wasn't a great collection of talent or one collective unit. But I think so much of that had to do with the true freshman quarterback, which goes back to DeAndre getting hurt. I think if DeAndre wasn't hurt, that offensive line would have looked a lot better. But also, who was coming up behind those guys? Like, who were the recruits that were learning from Landon Dickerson and learning from Rick Leonard and watching Brock Rubel, Cole Minshew, Alec Eberle, all those vets? They didn't have – it was Abdul Bello and Jawan Williams, man. Like, they didn't have any real talent coming up behind those guys. And that's where I feel like this is similar to that, where you like the starting offensive line. You think they can be pretty good. They've all proven they can play at this level at different schools, obviously. But what do you have behind them? You have no idea. Nothing proven at all. You might have some really good players. They might all be scrubs that can't play at this level. Sorry, that's a little too harsh. But guys that just aren't good enough to play at Florida State. We don't know yet. And that is a problem. And the trenches have been a problem, especially offensively, for a good starting that season, really. Starting 16-17, the offensive line became a dreadful problem that has still not quite been rectified.
Do you think Travis Kelce's going to wear a tuxedo to the wedding?
I think he'll it'll have some sort of 87 in it. It might be a tux, but it'll be some sort of Chiefs coloring. And then she'll wear, who knows what she'll wear. Will they televise it is the real question. Will it be like our royal wedding?
Yeah.
Our royal wedding. And again, I'm convinced, and it makes perfect sense. If Travis Kelce was the backup, it looked the exact same and had the exact same personality. If he was the backup tight end for the Chiefs, no chance. None. Okay. There has to be a status, I feel like. Yeah. There's no way she would be dating the second string tight end for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because she had no idea who he was. She's made that very abundantly clear. She doesn't follow football. There's a lot of sports fans that didn't know who Travis Kelce was 3 years ago. But when she asked, like, oh, wow, he's good looking. Who's that? And they're like, oh, he's like one of the best tight ends on the planet. He's a Hall of Famer. Immediately, that's a box that's checked. Right? Am I right or wrong, Aslan?
I just don't know why somebody didn't ask that and get a free layup to win Cummins gear and get their entry into a end-of-year grand prize drawing for a Cummins portable generator and power station.
Missed opportunity, everyone.
Yeah. It's not too late. Subscribe to warchant.com. Get involved in the mailbag next week. In the meantime, though, check out Cummins Lifestyle on Instagram. It's all one word. Give them a follow. We left off a quarterback question, Corey. My bad. Let's go to Kev Arsenault, 152. With the recent backhanded compliment from Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb on how Ty Simpson has been seeing what's in front of him, but he needs to cut it loose, hinting that he's not seeing the plays as Grubb draws it. I don't know if that's what I got from it, but that's open to interpretation. If Ty Simpson struggles early with the atmosphere, Tony's scheme, not seeing the field as directed by his offensive coordinator, do we think they would move on to Keelan Russell? Or would they just lean into their run game and, I don't know, maybe go 2023 ACC championship game, Brock Glenn game plan? I don't know if Keelan Russell's the first up. He's the true freshman from Texas that's pretty dynamic. I think Austin Mack, who they recruited when they were at Washington, DeBoer and Grubb, I think he probably would be put into the game, but I don't know. I think he gets 2.5 quarters, and then if they're just bogged down and they're down, I do think they probably pull the cord on the kid. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the earlier question about who's it more important for. Like there aren't many scenarios where Tommy would be pulled short of an injury. You would think. I mean, he could have a Brock Glenn. He could turn it over on 4 straight plays, and then you have no other choice. But I don't foresee that happening. He's your starting quarterback. This seems like more of a stopgap. Let's see what he is, and if he's not very good, they are not gonna wait long, like a whole game or a whole month, to make a change. If he's just not getting it, some guys just it's overwhelming. We saw it last year. Now he's a redshirt junior, so you expect him to handle it better than a true freshman did at Florida State last year as a quarterback. He also has better people around him and a much, much, much better offensive line. So he's not going to be looking. He should not be looking at the rush. But some guys just don't handle the moment well. You can be great we just know it. It's how sports works. You can be great in practice, but in a game, you're just not the same player. And they will probably be able to see that pretty quickly, right? Like, you know what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, Ryan Grubb knows what it's supposed to look like. Kalen DeBoer does. And if they see Ty Simpson doing things he hasn't done much at all in practice, they'll be like, okay, this is not working. He's not seeing it. He's not processing it quickly enough. He is rattled. This isn't going to work. They can make a move at halftime. I would be surprised if that happened, but it could. Like, I definitely think there's a possibility that they would make a change because they're not married to him. He's not their guy. He's not their recruit. He's a redshirt junior that has barely played in his college career. This is not somebody that they feel tied to. So I think, and also I don't know that he's that much better than the guys behind him. Maybe the guys behind him do something really well. I don't know anything about Alabama's backup quarterbacks. I don't know if one of them's like an electric runner or supposed to be a really good runner.
Keelan Russell, a true freshman. He's like a 6'4" freakazoid. I think he's from Duncanville in Texas, like a really strong program. So
I will say this. Maybe they make a change. Maybe they didn't. Like, they didn't take him out of that South Florida game 2 years ago. Now it's a whole different coaching staff, but he was pretty horrible in that game, and they just kept him in. There will be a lot of noise in the system if he doesn't play well and Alabama loses or barely wins or he looks bad doing it. There will be everybody loves that backup quarterback, especially when they're a 5-star, especially when the starter is a guy that hasn't really lived up to his hype coming out of high school and seems kind of to be, again, he might be awesome. I'm not trying to disparage the kid at all. But when you're a redshirt junior, you only have one start in your career, and you weren't playing behind Joe Namath. It doesn't speak to you being an incredible quarterback. So it could be a quick hook, but I don't think it'll be a hook like by the second quarter, unless he just looks like he can't do it, like he just melts down. But I don't foresee that happening. Plus, we all like the kid now because he admitted how nervous he is. There's something so human about that, Aslan.
There is.
We all can relate to that. I hope we all want Florida State to win. I get it, but you want Ty Simpson to at least have a nice game and lose anyway.
I just hope both teams have fun.
That's true too. Good point.
Keelan Russell, number 2 overall prospect in 2025.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
okay. So, he might just be keeping it warm.
6'3", 195.
He's ready.
Yeah, 6'3", 195. Austin Mack, he was the number 16 quarterback in the 2023 cycle. 6'6", 225.
Jeez. All right. Okay.
That's nice to have some specimens at quarterback. Wish we could do that.
Well, you got a guy that can run.
Yeah. Well,
Well, you do.
We haven't recruited.
I thought it was interesting that Papuchis, when he was asked about Alabama's offense, and I don't remember. Did you ask the question? I don't remember. It was something about without Milroe, they had a pretty freakish athlete at quarterback last year. How do you prepare for them not having that at quarterback this year? And he's like, look, you scout the offense you just scout the offense itself. But then you also wonder, okay, are they going to have any quarterback runs like they did from Milroe? Will they do that with Simpson? Will they do that with another quarterback? Will they do that in the Wildcat? You got to plan for everything. So I thought that was interesting that he assumes there might be some Wildcat they put out there, or maybe even the backup quarterback, just to have some of that QB run game that they were in so well last year.
Yeah, it wasn't my question, but he did say it's like a twofold way you look at it. You look at what they ran last year, and then you wonder, will they run that out of Wildcat instead? Or maybe they would even run it with Ty Simpson, but probably not with as much success. A couple more Alabama ones. We got a lot of it. It's Alabama week, everybody. Let's go back to Noel Dad for Life. His actual question was, he gave us the nugget about top 10 teams on the road losing to unranked teams in week 1. What do you think is more likely? Florida State doesn't score a touchdown in a double-digit loss, or Florida State is resting their starters in the fourth quarter?
Oh.
Those are two.
The first one.
Yeah. I mean, they're both plus 10,000 props over at your favorite sports book, probably. They're both astronomically. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think, what if Florida State's up by 10 points, but Tommy's going to go out there and take a knee on it?
Yes,
the only
correct.
way you're resting starters is if you're up by 3 touchdowns with 4 minutes to go. I don't even know, man.
I don't even think you're doing that.
I don't think
to rest a starter in the fourth quarter against Alabama, you're going to be up by 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, you don't have that
there's
luxury.
just no. I don't think there's any chance that happens. There's a very, very small percentage chance, in my opinion, that Florida State goes touchdownless. But
minuscule number.
But I still think that percentage is better than Florida State resting its starters because they're winning. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Okay. Was that part of the question? You could rest starters because you're down by a lot, right? Is that what he meant?
I don't.
Did he specify?
No, I feel like he was giving us, both sides of it.
Both ends of the spectrum. I gotcha.
All right, who wants it more coaching edition? Jernal 1518. Norvell has a steadfast approach. I don't even want to read this question because he referred to him like the acronym CMN. Come on, guys.
Oh, well, come on.
Knock it off.
Come on, don't be like that, Aslan. He's trying to shorten it.
He's got a steadfast approach to his coaching style and would tell us every game requires the same level of motivation and preparation. However, do you think there's any possibility the Alabama game means anything extra to him? The committee did choose that team over his undefeated team. Plus, there's all the stuff with him interviewing for that job, and Alabama now probably feeling like they dodged a bullet after what happened. Sorry, Jim B. After what happened last year, which was 2-10. Glad the season is here. This has been one of the most interminable off seasons I can remember.
Yeah. Amen to that.
No, man.
Well, I think we've answered this question.
Wasn't DeBoer have more pressure?
Well, that wasn't the question, was it? It was just, does Norvell feel a little extra oomph in this game because it's Alabama?
Yeah, you're right.
No. I genuinely think that. If this was Virginia or Georgia Tech again, you can't even understand what kind of pressure comes when you're on the heels of a season you just had. So I think Alabama maybe heightens it a touch, but I don't think it's because of the snub or because of the flirtation after 13-0. I genuinely think it's because it's a big name team coming off 2024. That to me is why this. It would bother me almost if the snub heightened him, made him even want to win it more. Buddy, you need all the wins you can get. And you don't need any other reasons about a snub here or a coaching flirtation here. It's because your team was garbage last year. And you need to prove to your fan base that you're built for this. And you're going to be here for the long haul. And last year was an absolute anomaly. I think that's what drives him. It better be what drives him more than just, it's Alabama. Because then, Virginia, he didn't flirt with Virginia. And Virginia didn't keep him out of the playoff. So does that mean he lessens it a little bit? and doesn't care quite as much. I know that's kind of a coach speak thing to be like, approach these all the same. They all should matter the same. But, yeah, for him, I get it. It matters more for Randy Pittman and Gunnar Hansen and Squirrel White to do something awesome against Alabama than, say, Friday night at Virginia. But for Mike Norvell, man, they all better matter a ton because his livelihood's on the line. Aslan, if he gets fired this year, he's only going to get like a $51 million payout. Guy's got a family.
That's incredible, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not fair, honestly. But, yeah, no, to answer that. Yeah, that's true. Maybe we could have a fundraiser for him. So, no, I absolutely think that I genuinely believe that. I don't think those other elements add any more want to Mike Norvell. Not if he's built the right way.
Along those lines, random_John, beyond the scoreboard, this game is going to be about the message. What message do you think Mike Norvell and this team must send to the national media and to recruits in this opener? Toughness, depth, explosiveness, or simply proving they can control the line of scrimmage against the SEC standard bearer?
Well, I don't think they're going to control the line of scrimmage. Not get controlled would be nice. Like, just hold your own.
21 Notre Dame kind of outing, right?
Yeah, but then that was followed up by Gross. But yeah, you're right. I think it's something like that. I think that if you're competitive in this game, again, I'm going to bring up 2024. I feel like if this is a game in the fourth quarter, and you're playing physical, man, you fly around because that's what Tony White preaches. You know, Gus, and you're playing fast on offense with some big plays and pretty fun to watch. And on defense, you're physical and aggressive. You're going to give up plays. You're going to give up points and touchdowns. We get it. But you play the right way. Then I think that will be a nice message to send no matter whether you win or lose. And also, it gets you further away from what 2024 was. Every time you step out on the field and either win or compete like you're supposed to compete with that helmet on and play like you're supposed to play with physicality and ferociousness like most everybody that came before you for the last 4 decades did, and you're not an embarrassment to watch, you do compete and you do believe and you do have confidence, all that stuff that you want out of your football team. Whether you win or lose, that puts 2024 more in the rear view, in my opinion. Because if you play well against Alabama and lose, or you compete with Alabama and lose, but it's a competitive game, there are wins on the horizon. Perhaps lots of them. And that's something you can get behind. But if the effort and physicality look like it did last year, no matter what the score is, that's what could be troubling. But I think, man, just be in the game, be exciting, make some plays, give yourself a darn chance. They're not a 40-point underdog. So if they're a 13.5-point favorite, that means that Vegas thinks they'll lose the first half by 6 points and the second half by 7 points. Well, if that's how the game actually goes, or somewhere in that neighborhood, I should say, if that's how the game goes and you're in that game and Alabama has to go win it in the fourth quarter or they just wear you down, man, all right, good, here we go. We got something to believe in this football season, and I think that message will be felt by recruits as well.
I will admit, never quite understood the ubiquity and allure of fishing shirts. I mean, I get the need for freedom of movement, but I'm not trying to look like a toddler in their dad's shirt. Well, now there's Poncho Outdoors. Poncho has created performance clothing that gives you the breathable, light fabrics that keep you cool in the hottest conditions, but also with a cut that lets you go from the boat to date night seamlessly. Listen, I live out of a suitcase these days, so I'm a huge fan of being able to pack a shirt that works in any setting, running errands, or like I said, date night. Poncho Outdoors also offers a slim fit option with a tapered cut in addition to a roomier regular fit. Your game day shirt doesn't have to be a t-shirt, and your night out shirt doesn't have to be a button down that you're going to sweat through. Try the performance wear from Poncho Outdoors by going to ponchooutdoors.com/wakeup to save $10 off your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/wakeup for $10 off and free shipping. Go try one out. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, Warchant BOGO, promo code, buy one, get one free. Nole 89 Nation, wake up, gents. How crucial do you think it is that the field is in top-notch shape? The newly renovated stadium delivers a premium experience, from seating and concessions to amenities, and the Noles put up a strong fight on Saturday to keep fans engaged and inspired to continue to support from major donors. Appreciate your thoughts, and as always, go Noles.
Yeah, I definitely think that it would be nice if things went off without a hitch in Game 1, stadium operations-wise. Am I expecting that? No. Not just because I'm taking a shot at Florida State in recent history, just because it's Game 1. There are probably going to be a couple of hiccups along the way when you got a brand new stadium that's being used for the first time. I think they got a brand new video board. They got a brand new field. That better be okay. Like that's actually very important. Whether you have punting stats up for the full first quarter or not isn't nearly as important as is the field being playable. But assuming all that happens, and it is a good experience. I'm not expecting a great win because there aren't many people that ever just are over the moon with their stadium experiences. It's a complaint-riddled racket, that thing is. And I shouldn't say racket. It is a game there where there's the whole nature of it is people are going to complain about this or that, and I get it. They're valid complaints, a lot of them. But I'm not expecting it to go off without a hitch. Hopefully it'll be close to as perfect as you could hope in a Game 1. I'm under the impression, to get to the real answer, that I don't know what the crowd is going to be like for East Texas and Kent State anyway. I think one of them might be homecoming or parents' weekend, so there might be a pretty good crowd either way for one of those games, but they are not going to be well attended. It's East Texas and Kent State. If they beat Alabama, I don't know that the Kent State game is going to be a sellout. If they lose by 40 points, I absolutely know it's not going to be a sellout, and I absolutely know that the interest in the program will wane and dip, and the interest in this head coach will wane and dip, and there will be some vitriol aimed towards him. But it can all be corrected with 4 straight wins. Look, your next 2 games are automatics, and then you're at Virginia on a Friday night. We don't know what Virginia is, but let's assume you can beat them. Not that you will, but they are definitely a beatable team. If you win those 3 games, everybody's back on board for Miami. Mm-hmm. No matter what the experience is like on Saturday. Everybody is full bore ahead for Miami. And that is where the season really pivots, one way or the other. That's the moment. That's the real life moment of what this season is going to be, in my opinion, is that Miami game. If you win that Miami game, nobody's going to care that you lost to Alabama 31-13. Or 31-6, or 40-7. Like you're now 4-1, and you're leading the ACC, and you have a real chance to get to Charlotte, and you chalk that up as a bad Game 1, which teams have. So in the interim, it's going to be a rough September. I get it. You lose to Alabama badly, then you have East Texas. You're not going to be able to prove anything the next Saturday. You have a bye week, and then you can't prove anything the next Saturday against Kent State. So the next time you get to really get people excited is a Friday at Virginia. But they'll be excited if you're 3-1 coming back from Miami. Agree or disagree, Aslan?
I agree with you. Again, the thing that I've been just deliberating on for the last 3 months is just how much of what happens Saturday is a harbinger of what's going to happen the rest of the season. I get it. It's a singular game, and if you get off the mat properly and you beat Virginia, you beat Miami, everything is fine. But the things that are going to show up in the Alabama game that don't go your way, there's no guarantee that you are going to learn from those and totally flush it out of your system in a month.
Right.
It could still end up being there. So it's tough. But no, for sure. Yeah, if that happens to where they do get off the mat, and I remember somebody didn't joke after they lost a Virginia Tech game in 2018, was like, well, hey, Ohio State lost the first game of their season a few years ago, and they ended up winning a national title.
Tech, yep.
And we're like, oh, and I don't. It might have actually been week 2, but we're like, oh yeah. And I don't know. In hindsight, that was foolish. It was like, everything that happened in this game ended up happening week after week after week after week. Different coaching staff. This one's a little bit better. Sarcasm. They're a lot
Agreed. Yeah, it's a lot better. And I also think, just because we've been asked that a few times on headlines, or we've talked about it a few times on headlines, about the fan base's reaction to a bad loss to Alabama, and how it's going to really be
that is, it should. It should. What happened last year, and then you did this full reset. And listen, we don't talk about this a lot, which we probably shouldn't have to, but after the Florida game, Mike Norvell was absolutely staring lasers at every single camera, and he's like, this will be a quick fix. That was his quote. This will be a quick fix. And I know week 5 against Miami would still be considered a quick fix if everything is up and running by then. But, man, quick fix feels like that should mean game one when you're making this amount of money at this level of a program.
100%. I'm saying, but my point has always been, it doesn't matter what the fan base thinks in the short term. It doesn't matter if the fan base is out, if the fan base is, oh, here we go again, if the fan base turns apathetic over the next 3 weeks, because you can win them back. It is game one, and it is Alabama. That's my point. Win or lose, you can win ugly or lose ugly. Lose ugly more is what I meant to say. You can still win them back. The fan base's thoughts about this team matter not at all, because so many of these guys are new. Now, they might not like it. I hope they're not checking social media. And they shouldn't anyway.
I care what you guys think. Corey doesn't care what you guys think, but I care what you guys think, you fans. I care.
I'm saying I don't think it impacts how they play the next 3 weeks. Like, they have a runway.
We'll see.
Where the fans can hop back on board, and they can get ready for that Miami game, and you hope be 3-1 going into that Miami game. And then again, the fans that hated you on September 2nd will be there in that stadium October 4th, and they will be fired the F up. That's the things about fans, man. They will jump right back on board when you give them a reason to. So I'm not gonna think that it's just impossible to come back from. You've lost the fans. You've lost the fans. I bet we could hear that a lot if they lose badly on Saturday, that he's lost the fans. He's already lost the fans. He will have lost them again for the short term, but 2-1, go to Virginia and win and look pretty good doing it on a Friday night. You're 3-1. All the fans are back with you again. Now, they'll hop off in a second if you lose to Miami. I get it. But you will have another chance to win them back is my point.
Ohio State lost week 2 against Virginia Tech and then ripped off, I don't know.
That was a pretty mediocre Virginia Tech team, too, if I remember correctly. It wasn't a very good team, and it was in Columbus.
And they ripped off 13 straight after that, won the national title. Good for them. Also, if anybody was wondering,
they should have been playing Florida State in the Sugar Bowl in that playoff.
Apparently, the 1983 national champions, they lost in week 1 and then ended up winning the national title.
The Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Which is, they lost to Florida, right?
Badly, 28-3.
Yes. Yeah, and then it's because they upset Nebraska, who was considered like the best college football team of all time. That's why Auburn claimed the '83 national championship, because a lot of those weird polls gave to them, because I think they had a tie that year, but not a loss. Auburn did in '83, so a lot of people thought they deserved the national title, which, hey man, they probably did.
Also, 1974, SC lost their opener to Arkansas, but they ended up finishing with a share of the national title.
Well, Florida State lost 2 straight to open the '89 season, and then they ended up winning the Billingsley National Championship.
Heck yeah.
They ripped off 10 in a row, including beating Miami, who was awarded the AP National Championship.
Whack 169. Wake up, guys. The season is upon us. You're going to be reading this while me and my family are headed to Chicago to see the greatest band in the world, Oasis.
Yep. I was supposed to be there, if that matters to anyone.
Corey, sorry you're missing out and that you work for such a tyrant. Maybe you can play some Oasis at the CP.
Yeah, I absolutely will. And it's not my boss's fault. It was just, look, man, I would have had to fly. I'm not great about that. I would have had to get on a flight Friday morning early to make sure I'm back in Tallahassee, because it ain't not like there's a lot of Chicago to Tallahassee directs. Aslan. That's a long day to fly from Chicago to Tallahassee. It's at least 2 planes, might be 5 planes. Who knows if they're delayed, if I even get to the Corner Pocket meet and greet, or if I get in town in time. So it was just horrible timing. And I hope the brothers can stick it out, because I would like to see them go on a bigger tour and I could go watch them. But have fun, man. That's going to be awesome.
All right, Whack 169 bracing for a loss. That's going to probably involve a garbage touchdown that maybe makes the final score look a little less indicative of the quality of game. And us as fans will be wondering if we really learned anything about the team, and that there will almost be as many questions as there were before the game. I think the season is 7-5. FSU loses the games they're supposed to and win another one that they might not be, or they might not be projected to win. If that plays out, what do you guys think happens at the end of the season? Is there any world where Mike Norvell decides to take a reduction in his buyout? Nope. And we just part ways. I cannot think that being the head coach in Tallahassee of a bad football team would be good for me or my family.
Yeah. What's the question? Is there a world where what?
Norvell decides to take a reduction in a buyout just to get out of here.
There's no way Sexton would allow that. I know they don't have a union, but I don't think coaches would be a big fan of that. Like, look, man, it's not his fault. Florida State gave him that extension. So no, I don't think there's any world in which he takes a reduction and then a buyout.
So what do you think happens? That was one of those questions. If that plays out 7-5, where they lose the games they're supposed to, and another one that they are not. So I guess he means Alabama. Yeah, Miami, Clemson,
and then you lose
Florida.
At NC State, man, which I certainly am not sitting here in August thinking at NC State is a dub. Like, when has that ever been a reality the last 3 decades?
Right.
That's going to be a hard win, too. Like, this first half of the schedule is where you need to make some hay. It'd be awesome if you were 5-1. You've got 2 of the worst teams in the ACC on the road. You've got 2 gimmies at home. And then you've got Miami and Alabama at home. You'd hope you could win one of them. And then if you're 5-1, it would suck to go 3-3 down the stretch, but that gets you home. If you start out 5-1 and go 2-4 down the stretch, you're going to have some issues, man. I don't.
You're not going to recruit great, man. You're not going to recruit great. You're going to be losing most everybody, and whoever you won't be losing because of attrition and seniority, you're probably not going to want to come back, and then you're going to have to find yourself trying this all over.
It depends, though, right? Like, I hate doing this, but it really, like, I'm not – if he goes 5-5, which is essentially what that means, coming off 2-10, really 1-10, he went 1-10 and 5-5 in the actual football games that weren't over before they started. That's horrible. And that is absolutely a reason to let him go and go try to find somebody else. The problem is you're starting over, and then you're guaranteed that 2026 is going to be a nightmare. It's maybe a nightmare is too strong.
Core, you're going to lose, 4/5 of your offensive line. You're probably going to lose Deuce and Squirrel. You're probably going to lose Darrell Jackson, James Williams.
I guess I would say
linebackers. That's kind of starting over too, man.
But again, that was kind of my point that I was bringing up yesterday about the young guys on the depth chart. What if Boggs looks like the next super dude?
Yeah, man, you don't keep your job. Sorry, man. You don't keep your job if you've got to finally have a good receiver. You finally hit on a receiver in high school after 6 years.
I'm saying
no,
you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying you get to keep your job because Boggs is here. I'm saying Castellanos might have another year. What if Castellanos has 3,500 total yards? The offense is really good. You lost because the defense was young and inexperienced in this defense, or not young. But in every game was like most every game was 31-27. And you had some bad breaks, but you were in the game. And maybe FIMRAO says that your win expectancy was 9 wins, and you got unlucky to only be 7-5. I think all these things matter, man. I think it does matter what it plays out like, what it looks like. Again, we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum for the last 8 months. It can't just be simply numbers. It just can't be, because you're talking about such a big number to pay to have him go away. If you can see real strides, like real positive strides in the recruiting, which we do right now. Now, you're saying if they go 7-5, maybe they lose some of these guys. Maybe. But we're seeing real strides in the recruiting. We absolutely like this recruiting class they just brought in. And there's a foundation where you can build on. You can talk yourself into keeping a coach that went 7-5. You can. It depends on what it looks like, though, man. Like, if you go to Florida and lose 40-9 and you weren't competitive, yeah, well, and you lost 3 in a row to end the season, and it seemed like your team quit on you again, and they're not physical, and they're not – yeah, man, there are all these reasons to let them go. But it can't just simply be wins and loss. Like, the difference – but like 8 wins, he's guaranteed to stay? So 1 win is the difference? Like 1 missed kick or 1 fumble is the difference between paying a guy $50 million and not, or believing in him or not?
I mean,
you've got to believe in what you're seeing. There's a scenario where they could go 8-4 and make a change because they just don't believe in what they're seeing, or they think Tony White is the real deal and they want him to be there. I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. But I could see a scenario where he is fired after 7-5. Or he sticks around at 7-5. I think that is a 50-50 proposition. I think anything less than 7 wins, see ya. And now I know I just said you shouldn't put numbers on it, and I just did. But then again, you're 4-6. You've gone 4-6. If anything, 8 wins or more, I think he's staying. 7 is 50-50. That's like the break.
Okay.
That's the break. That's
The Mendoza line for him?
That is the Mendoza line for him. And it's like that would really be fascinating. Like would he be coaching in the swamp for his job? That would be really, really interesting, man. And I also think it depends on what because you're right. You'd have to replace the offensive line and most of your skill guys. But if you have Castellanos, let's say he was really good this year, and Cromall runs for 900 yards and 13 touchdowns, and Boggs looks like an All-American, and Pittman's really good, and Amari and Landon, and on. It's like, okay, maybe there's a core here that you want to keep. You want to keep together. So, anyway.
Also gives Lane Kiffin a really good opportunity to hit the ground running year one. Or whoever you hire, too. Just saying.
That's true, too. Something appealing for Lane Kiffin to come into. I got you. Good point.
It's crazy. So they're going to play 8 consecutive conference games.
Starting with Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stanford game, I even think maybe by November – Jake Dickert's a pretty good coach, but I mean, Wake is just so depleted from everything. I think if I had to do confidence points on the Power 4 games on the schedule, I mean, Stanford's my most confident for a win, and then probably Wake Forest is the second one. But I think Virginia, Miami, Pitt, that's tricky. That's a tricky 3 weeks. Then you got to go all the way across the country to play Stanford. You do get a week off after that, and you get Wake, so you get a get-right game. Yeah, really 2 get-right games. But then, Clemson, Tech, at NC State on a Friday, and then at the Swamp. Man, this
it gets. So Wake is after Miami.
Wake is way after. It's the first game in November 1st. It's Miami.
So
then
it's
Pitt.
Miami,
Pitt,
then at Stanford,
then at Stanford, then an off week, and then 5 straight games. 3 on the road.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique schedule, man, and it does add to the context of this season. You start with 4 of your first 5 are at home, 2 are against good top 10 teams, 2 are against not. Your first 2 road games. Well, I guess 5 of your first 6 are at home.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That's crazy. Yeah. And Pitt is not an earth beater. Like they're not a walk. They're not a cakewalk.
No, they're not.
Especially not coming over off a rivalry game. Hopefully a rivalry win, but a rivalry game. But you're supposed to win at home. You're supposed to win conference games at home. Pitt should not be beating you on your home field if you're healthy. It just shouldn't be. So if everything just goes according to plan, let's say you lose to Miami and Alabama, which is a big if, but you win all the rest, well, then you're 6-2 after 8 games? Yeah. Because you should beat Stanford, you should beat Pitt at home, you should beat the two cupcakes, and you should beat Virginia on the road. So if you start out 6-2, you're feeling pretty good about things. You still might have a legit shot. You would still be in the running for the ACC championship. Meaning, it's just weird how the schedule has worked out. Where last year they didn't get the Charleston Southern game till way too late, so they never got a chance to feel good about themselves. This time, even if they lose to Alabama, they get these 2 automatic dubs. And Virginia is not an automatic dub, but by God, it should be. And if you can go get that 3rd win, well, all of a sudden you've already eclipsed the win total from last year, Aslan. Everybody's happy. And then you've also got 3 of your next 4 at home, or 2 of your next 3 at home. Maybe 3 of your next 4. I don't remember. And one of them Stanford. But anyway, on the road. It's like that. It's just that there are pockets of easiness, really easy, followed by the Terror Dome at the end of the season. Like that last 4 is nuts. At Clemson, at NC State, and at Florida are 3 of your last 4 games. You've won at Clemson once in the last 20 years. You always are in a dogfight at NC State and usually lose. And at Florida is at Florida. Like, holy cow, that's a tough end of the season. Maybe NC State won't be any good, but that's doubtful. And it doesn't matter usually if they are good or not. They still give you problems.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Long one, but hey. We didn't even get through all the questions.
Sorry, everyone. That's me. Hey, you could tell it's game week, Aslan.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm getting excitable. I'm getting fired up. I can't wait to see what this thing's going to look like.
Live show 6 p.m. sharp. I'm kidding, but it'll be at 6 p.m., maybe 6:02. Jeff Cameron show 1 to 4 o'clock. Don't forget, we also have something called The Warpath with Matt Lasser and Nick Carlisle talking about recruiting. That drops usually on Fridays. So live show today. That will be your Thursday program, and then we'll try to get to the rest of these questions as well as some over-unders, and we'll give out some Garnet and Gold gift codes to whoever wins that one. And we'll see if we can get somebody from the Bama Online site to join us to give us some last thoughts on what they think Alabama could look like on Saturday. So this show, the mailbag, will probably be Tuesdays moving forward, everybody. So
get used to it. Put it in your schedules,
exactly.
Everyone.
So you get on the Tribal Council, get your question in there. Think Corey's gone. I think he just pulled his microphone, his headset off. He's like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. So I'm out of here too. Thanks for listening.
Did you hear me?
No. Now I hear you. Now you're back.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, buddy. I didn't know I did that.
You want to send us off?
Hey, bye everyone. I love all you guys. Can't wait to see you in a couple days at Corner Pocket.